to the Good Share Podcast with Ryan and Ice. I'm Ryan.
And I'm Ice.
All right.
Hey, buddy.
Hey, bud.
Been so long since we've done this.
I know. It's been a whole week.
It's been a day. Oh, well, to the listeners, it's been a week. Well, maybe, who knows when this comes out? Maybe it'll have been 2 weeks.
It could have been 2 weeks. Really.
Are there still listeners out there?
Yeah.
Let us know. Let us know if you're a listener.
Yeah, please do.
Let's hear it for the listeners.
So last at the tail end of the last episode, I mentioned, where you can find the podcast, but you know what? You probably know where all that is since you're listening already. Yeah. Unless you're just kind of scraping through YouTube and happen to come across us, which is cool too. That's fine. But at least on iTunes and I think Amazon, you can rate. I think it's those two that
yes. Yeah.
Now, of course, you can give us thumbs up on YouTube, which is very pleasant, and we appreciate that. It tickles my chinny chin hairs whenever somebody does that. Oh, thanks.
Yeah.
Here. Yeah, there you go. God, thank you.
I don't know. Was my hand out of frame?
Okay. I bring my hand into frame.
Oh, gosh. I was thinking about how funny that'd be if we had a gag where you hand me something or I hand you something.
I think that would be fantastic.
We're gonna have to do that.
We'll work something up.
Yeah.
Anyway, if you can hit the thumbs up, or you can rate us on whatever application you're using.
Yes,
please do that.
And if there's any spots for you to leave a review. Mm-hmm. Let us know what you think. Are we talking too much? Are we talking not enough? Are we talking about things you don't care about? Or are there things you want us to talk about? All that stuff. I mean, and subscribe too. Subscribe.
Yeah, do that.
So you don't miss an episode.
Right. Because, here's the thing. Like, are we talking enough or are we not talking? Yes, exactly. Like, how long is your drive? Do we need to talk a little bit more? Fill in a little more space?
Let us know what you're doing when you listen. Are you driving, or are you mowing your yard? Are you walking on the treadmill? Or are you just making lunch? Let us know.
Yeah, we're interested. We want to know.
Yeah.
So I believe Lonnie's working when he's listening, but I'm not.
I believe so. Yeah.
I'm not 100% sure.
Although if that's true, he does not get much work done because every time he listens, he texts me a bunch while he's listening. So Lonnie, I'm going to let your boss. I don't even know where you work. I'm going to let your boss know. You need to be more focused.
His boss listens to the podcast. Hey, Lonnie Clayton is also listening to the podcast.
He's a machinist, right?
Yes, he's a machinist.
What is that? What does that mean? That's just someone that fixes machines?
No. A machinist is someone that uses either a lathe, like in a metal shop. I'm not talking about wood lathes, but like a lathe in a metal shop, or they'll use like some type of CNC, or they'll do any type of machining that's required on like some type of metal fabrication to fit parts. Gotcha. Or to make parts, proprietary parts. I know that he had worked on something that was licensed to his shop or not licensed, but commissioned to his shop to do aerospace. And I think they do that a lot bit, but I think, and I might be incorrect about this because Lonnie did tell me about some of it, but he didn't go into any great detail, and this has been years ago.
Classified.
It was classified information, but he was working for some stuff off of Area 51. No, I'm just kidding. But I think it was NASA. Like he had some stuff that was commissioned to his shop from NASA. It was pretty cool. But yeah, like small little shops like that. It's surprising how many of those little shops, because I've got a brother-in-law that also does machining work for another company, and he worked for a company in Pennsylvania that also was commissioned some work from NASA for some honeycomb panels.
For the cereal.
Yeah, for the NASA cereal, for the astronauts to eat.
Space food, yeah.
Space food, yeah. But it's funny how like NASA will outsource a lot of that, like these things. They're small jobs, but they're large enough where it's not one-off. But they have to like segment a bunch of their parts for a particular project
Yeah.
off and onto hundreds of different little shops like that. Not to say that Lonnie's shop is a small one, but it relatively, I think it's
compared
smaller
to like NASA.
Yeah.
Okay.
But anyway,
I've always just wondered. I mean, that's kind of what I thought, but
yeah, I don't know a tremendous amount about it, but it is something that interests me. So I have done some research, and I've talked to guys that work in those shops because I'm interested in it, and so I know a little bit, enough to make me just slightly knowledgeable.
Right. Man, I'll tell you what, Lonnie gets a lot of shout outs all this podcast.
Yeah, he does. That's because he keeps shouting at us.
That's right.
Stop shouting at us, Lonnie.
We're doing the best we can.
Yeah, we are. It's easy. If you don't like it, hit the pause button.
Yeah, unsubscribe. No, don't do that.
Don't do that, though.
Before you unsubscribe, let us know what we can do to be better. You at least give us one more chance.
Yeah, right. That's right.
Just one more chance, please.
And to do that, just go to goodsharepodcast.com/I might unsubscribe. And right there, you will find a form, and you can fill out the form, and it will be anonymous.
Right.
You don't even have to tell us who you are.
Yeah. You don't have to tell us who you are, but just leave your name.
Just leave your name and your number and your address. And your social security number. No, I'm just kidding. So you can go there and anonymously leave. What would they call those at work? Like where you would work, a comment box or a
suggestion box.
Suggestion box. Yeah. It'll be. You know what? That's what it will be. It'll be goodsharepodcast.com/suggestion box.
Perfect. I like that.
Yeah.
And
that's
then
SUGG. Is that GG?
Oh, don't start spelling it if you don't know how. I believe it's SUGGESTIONBOX.
Yeah, it'll be that. What he said. Suggestion hyphen, which is a dash.
Oh, right.
So suggestion dash box. You know what? I'll make it suggestion box, all one word. I'll make it a bunch of different ways. That way, no matter what you type, you're gonna wind up there.
You can type in goodsharepodcast.com/this podcast sucks, and it'll still take you to the right place.
We'll make it SB/SB.
This is so complicated.
We'll make it /shipbox. We'll make it BS for bullshit for box suggestion.
The GSBS.
All you have to do is just get an S in there and a B, and it will get you to the place where you need to go.
Actually, that would be fun, and then we could, if we get enough of them, it would be fun to read some anonymous, but like read some on a podcast, and maybe we can, discuss. Oh yeah, well maybe we should do that, or no, we don't want to do that. So sorry, or whatever.
Yeah, that'd be fun.
Yeah.
That'd be a good time. That way you're not committed to having to comment on YouTube. Because some people like the trolling and thing, and some people don't really get into it. But this will be more isolated and personal, direct to you and I.
Yes. Yeah.
Way cool. Way cool. I'm glad I thought of it.
So what are we going to talk about today? I know you're excited about this one.
I am kind of excited about this one because this
is about to be your wheelhouse.
This is because I'm interested in all kinds of different things, and one of my passions is tools. I just freaking love tools.
That's why we're friends, because I'm a tool.
I have so many tools for friends, but no. So today we're going to do part 2 of our favorite gear. Tools and gadgets. Or tools, gear, gadgets, and tools. Yeah.
The old GGT.
The old GGT. So,
oh man, we're in a mood today.
Yeah, we are.
Okay.
So I'm not exactly sure how long this one will run because you were a little hesitant about the tool section because you're like, what am I going to talk about? But
well, not hesitant, but I just feel like this is going to be one where I don't contribute quite as much. But that's fine, because I definitely had a 4-part series where it was pretty much just me talking. So I still think I still want to do the episode, because you're probably going to teach me some things or remind me of some things that I forgot as far as tools. But I did try something today, so I'll share that. Yeah.
Did you?
Yeah. I'll share that. Yeah, when we get there.
Cool.
It had like 50% success.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I was still able to fix the problem.
Awesome.
It just wasn't. I couldn't use just solely that method.
I gotcha. Well, very good.
Yeah.
Good. I'm glad to.
All right. Well, I'll see you next week. That's all I'm saying.
All right. See you,
later.
Matt. Okay, so oh gosh. All right, so what do you want to start with? Like gadgety type of stuff?
I mean, that's fine. Whatever. Yeah.
Yeah. Let's do gadgets. Let's do some gadgets. Okay. And this will be. I'm thinking this will be pretty light, and it won't be anything in too crazy amount of detail until we get to some of the tools, and then of course I'm gonna lose my mind. But
yeah, I'm gonna go take a lunch break, and you'll still be talking.
I'll still be talking about
Bosch reciprocator sauce, so amazing.
Oh gosh. Okay, so I'll start off with one that's just kind of quick and nerdy, and it's not so much nerdy. I mean, a lot of people have these. I mean, actually millions of people have them, and it's not that big a deal, but it is something that I do enjoy. And it's funny because I started using it, and then I was like, and then I'm back to using it again. And it's really based off of us trying to get our act together as far as getting in better shape.
Okay.
It's my Apple Watch.
Yes.
My Apple Watch. I really, really like my Apple Watch for a multitude of reasons. It has Siri built into it, so whenever somebody texts me, I don't have to grab my phone. I don't have to go find my phone or anything. I just say, hey, and Siri starts listening, and you just say what you want it to text back, and it texts the person back. You don't even have to hit send or anything. It's pretty awesome. It now will show me emails, which I don't know when they changed that exactly, because I stopped wearing it for a while.
Yeah.
So I like that. I can delete the email, like if it's an email that's kind of a spammy.
Sure.
But it's something, because I do subscribe to like tool websites, so I can see what's going on. But if it's something I already know about or whatever, I can just delete it from my watch, and I don't have to see it on my phone or anywhere else. Of course, phone calls, that kind of thing. Especially another gadget that goes along with them really well is the Apple AirPods. Whether you have the pros or the non-pros, they're both fantastic. The connectivity is immediate. The non-pro ones I find do better with isolating voice, so you don't pick up as much like ambience or wind noise. Where the pro versions, I've noticed they're and you have too, that they're a bit, they pick up a bit of wind. But they will pair up. So if you get in a call, the watch will show like an answer button. But if you have an AirPod in, it'll show a picture of the AirPod saying, well, you're going to answer, and it's going to pick up on your AirPod. So
that's nice.
Yeah, really cool. And then, of course, the tracking for exercises.
Sure.
The tracking for mileage is incredibly accurate, especially on Series 3 and 4, because it has built-in GPS, plus it has, what is it? The CDMA tech, so it connects to your Verizon network or AT&T, which is also super, super neat, because before I switched to Visible, which I like Visible, it's another company that uses Verizon's towers, but they're not yet allowing, I think it's called micro SIM. They're not allowing, or eSIM. It's called eSIM. They're not really turning on eSIM yet. I think it's some customers it's eligible because of region, but it's not eligible everywhere. So I can't like get this on the network yet. But as soon as Visible turns it on, I did have it on for a while with Verizon, and it was really, really slick, man. I mean, I had my watch and my AirPods, and I left my phone at home, and anybody calls me, I could pick it up from my watch anywhere. You know,
that's so amazing.
Yeah, and it worked fantastic. But since I switched to Visible, I lost that benefit for now. Right. So that's for my first little gadget that I do enjoy using and I do like. But I feel like it comes and goes. But whenever I'm in the health and trying to work, I enjoy having it because it does keep tabs on my heart rate, and I use it as a gauge, you know, just gauging that. Sure. But I really like it especially if I'm going out on a walk, because it's fun to, you know, see just how far you've gone in the amount of time. And, you know, it's cool. And I know you have something similar to that.
I do. I have a Fitbit Charge 4 that I like for almost all the same reasons. It obviously doesn't do near what your Apple Watch does, but I also don't really
It's not
care.
near the size either.
No, it's a lot smaller. And it was a lot cheaper. I got it on sale for like $120.
And I have to charge mine every day. I mean, it can only really last me like maybe 8 to 10 hours.
Yeah.
And
I mean, I charge mine every day, but I could probably go like an entire weekend without charging it if I had to. And that includes like using it for exercise and stuff where it's actually doing more. You know, it's like working harder to track stuff.
Since we were talking about them, like, I didn't realize all the other things that they do now. Like, when they first came out, like, it was basically
it was like
heart rate and
steps and stuff. Yeah. But I do like that it tracks heart rate. I feel like it's pretty accurate with heart rate. Tracks your steps. It's got built-in GPS. Like, the old one I had, you had to, if you wanted the GPS to work, you had to have the app open on your phone and have your phone with you. But now you don't have to do that. The GPS is built into the thing. And I find that it's pretty accurate too. But yeah, it'll forward texts to it. I mean, you can read them. You obviously can't respond to them or anything, but you can at least read them. You can see who it's from. It'll show who's calling you. It's got a weather thing on there, so I can look at the weather on there for like wherever. And if I use Spotify, which I don't because I personally don't like Spotify, but if I did, I could actually control. If I was playing music on my phone from Spotify, I could control it on there.
Oh, nice.
I wish they would do it with Apple Music, but since it's Apple Music, they're not probably allowed to do that.
That's weird.
Yeah.
I think they opened that up. I think now it's open.
Really?
Because I follow some of that stuff.
Maybe
they
Fitbit,
used to sandbox a lot of that stuff.
Maybe Fitbit just has an exclusive thing with Spotify, which Fitbit is owned by Google now too, so I don't know.
Oh, really?
Google bought them earlier this year, I think, or late last year.
Google bought Fitbit?
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Interesting.
So, what kind of tools you want to talk about?
Well, I have a couple more like just gadgety things I really like and I enjoy. I'm gonna throw this one out here because we've used this one quite a few times. Remember that guy?
Oh, I do remember that guy. That guy has been pretty clutch.
Yeah. The Zoom Handy Recorder H2. Now, this was the generation 1 of this little recorder. It's a little SD recorder. We used it on a couple things that we did.
Hot buttery elves.
Yeah. Was this our room mics or overheads, or was it both?
Yes. I believe we had we had a kick mic and maybe a snare mic, and then because there's two sets of stereo, right? And there's one that's like wider. And one
there's two mics in the front. There's two mics in the back.
Whichever ones are a little narrower, we had those pointed at the kit.
Yep,
and
90s.
The ones that are wider, we had facing away, and those were like our room mics. Yeah. But you know what? After you blended everything together, was it like the tightest, most defined drum sound ever? No, but for what we were going for, it had like a nice, like rocky. You put a little compression on it. It was like a nice rock drum sound.
Yeah. Yeah, it sounded great.
Yeah, and especially considering the drums were set up in your dining room.
Yeah, and we have a mattress behind you or something, just trying to
behind
kill
me,
some
and
stuff.
I think against your French doors to the deck or whatever. Yeah.
Yep.
Somewhere on YouTube, that video is still out there, I believe.
That's true. Somewhere out there,
you can see fat ice, fatter ice.
I forgot that we did.
I used to be fat. I still am, but I used to be too.
I used to too. So yeah, the Zoom Handy Recorder H2. They make these little things that Zoom make. They're really decent. They're real. I can't complain. They're really good. I've not yet had a card read error or a write error to a card. So, good for Zoom. Then I have this. Then I have this other one. This little guy here.
Oh, yeah.
It's about the size. It's a little bit smaller than like a handheld microphone. It's called the Zoom Handy Recorder H1N, not the H1N one, just the H1N.
You don't want the H1N one, just the H1N.
No, you don't. No, just the H1N. It has a really nice screen. It has 2 microphones on the top, left and right, and they're 90-degree split. It also has this nice little dial right here that you can set your mic gain. Oh, nice. It has a screw hole in the back for a 1/4-inch thread for a mic stand or a camera mount. And it takes a micro SD card up to, I think, 64 gigs. It can do MP3s and waves, and I think the highest.
What if you have more shows on your calendar than just 64 gigs? Then what do you do?
Then you have to get another card.
That joke never gets old.
No, it doesn't.
Never gets old because it was never young.
So really, really cool, cool recording device there. And then you just received one of these, and it is the Tascam.
Oh yeah, I need to open up that box.
DR10L. This is really cool. It works pretty much exactly the same way, except in this case, it will take a 1/4-inch TRS. That's a tip ring sleeve for all you non-audio guys. Input on a lavalier mic or any microphone that would work off that. And I believe it has to be dynamic because this does not send power down the line. It does work off a micro SD card the same way as all the Zoom ones do. It takes just a tiny little AAA battery, one AAA battery in the back, and that will last, I think, 6 hours or 4 or 6 hours, something like that. Long enough. And it will go up to a 64 gig card as well, I think. It might be more than that. It has a headphone for monitoring. It has a nice little screen on it. It doesn't give a whole lot of information, but it's really easy to read. The menu in this thing is really easy to navigate, and there's not like a whole bunch of crap on it to get lost in. It also has USB hookup, so you could... I don't think you can use this as an interface for your computer, but I believe you can use it to pull the information off the card in case you don't have a card reader. The Zoom also has a USB plug on it as well, micro USB. Yeah. Are there any other like little gadgets around that you have?
You know, one thing I really like, which at first I used to be like, it's like kind of a dumb gimmicky thing, but Remo makes this drum key. Okay.
I was wondering if you were going to talk about a drum key.
It's super hefty, but there are a couple things I like about it. A, if you look at the top,
it's a hex, right?
You can put it in a drill, which I've never used it for that because I actually have a drum key drill bit, but I still have never used it for that because I've never been in like such a hurry to change a head that I had to use a drill. I mean, I can change a head conventionally pretty freaking quickly. But, okay, so the things I like about this, it's magnetic.
Ooh.
So, you know, like if you are trying to change a head quickly or whatever, and you want to pull the rods out, like once you get it loose and it's all the way out, you pull it out.
Oh, nice.
Like, that's super handy. I like that there's this grippy thing on top because a lot of times, like the way I like to tune, if I'm putting new heads on, or just putting like re-heading a drum with an old head, is you want to get all the tension rods to finger tight evenly across before you start cranking down with a drum key, right? You just want to do it with your fingers and get them all so the head kind of so the head will be pulled down evenly and it won't be like this or whatever. The problem is, at least for me, maybe I have sensitive hands, but like you start doing that on the tension rods, first your hands get greasy, but then the threading on the rods will like tear up your fingertips. And so by the time you go to play, like that's no fun.
Yeah.
This makes it super easy to do the same thing because if I'm using this as my torque, I can only tighten the key, the drum key or the tension rod so far. You know, this is obviously a lot easier. But just doing this, like once I meet resistance, I can't, you know. So if I can bring up every tension rod to the relatively same tension with that, then I can do like, okay, one full turn and go around. And before you know it, like the drum is where I want it to be.
I see.
It's like kind of a dumb thing. It's a little more expensive than a drum key should be. I think I paid like $10 for it. But it's definitely handy. And dude, if you have two of them, which I do have another one in a stick bag somewhere, changing a head becomes super easy because you can just work your way across.
Oh yeah.
And pull them out and like
so fast.
It's pretty quick.
That's slick.
Yeah, man. I don't know. I just thought of that right now because I happen to see it over here.
Yeah, that's good.
And like other companies, like Tama makes a key that it's not magnetic. But it does have this thing on top. But like this also chews up your fingers after a while.
Is it knurled?
It's knurled. Well, sort of. I don't know if you can see.
Oh, okay.
But it doesn't have like a rubbery grip to it or anything. Right. And I think Evans probably makes one too that is knurled. But it's like that still hurts your fingers. Like if you have to do an entire set of drums, like
right.
By the time you get to the last drum, you're like, fuck, this hurts. With that, it's fine. You know, it's like feels good.
Right.
Okay, I got one other thing, and I just thought about it because I'm wearing. Well, you just did like 7 in a row.
Wow, damn quick though. I don't want to like do like a bunch more, and then you still not have anything to talk about.
Well, I only have one more. Okay, so do all yours, and then I'll do my last one. We got to get the tools, son.
I know. Well,
this is gonna be just the gadgets episode.
No, because tool one, I don't think will be. Like, there's just a couple things I want to say. Okay, so this thing is really cool. This is the DaVinci Speed Editor Pro. Oh. Or just Speed Editor, sorry. This works with DaVinci Resolve. It's a Blackmagic keyboard. It has all of the shortcut keys. It doesn't have like a full set of, it's not a full set keyboard. Now they do make one that's a whole keyboard along with kind of this like placed and the buttons placed in other places around the keyboard.
Yeah.
But this thing makes editing video incredibly quick. Adds some stuff I didn't even know DaVinci Resolve did until I actually got this. And I hit a couple buttons and it flips the screen and flips the whole interface and changes everything without me having to touch the mouse at all. Like I'll edit our entire podcast on this and I won't even touch my keyboard or mouse.
Wow.
The shuttle wheel is weighted, so it feels really good.
Yeah.
Underhand, and it's smooth, and everything on here is very tactile, and it feels really nice. And anything that you're going to need access to that's super duper important, it's on here. And they leave off all the unnecessary stuff that's not, that big a deal.
Right.
Okay, so that covers that guy.
You want me to go?
Yeah. You go.
Okay. The earbuds I'm wearing.
I was at the very beginning, I was going to be like, maybe you should mention the earbuds.
So I have like really good in-ears from JH Audio that I love, that I use with David and whatever. But these earbuds are just Sony, and I honestly can't even tell you what the model is. This is like probably my 5th pair of them. And I have some that have like it's like the 3-way with the microphone on them too, but I don't use those anymore because my new phone doesn't have a headphone jack.
Right.
But dude, these things, I had them a long time ago with my iPhone 4, right? Just to like listen to music, and they sound so good. And then a few years ago, when I started playing Broadway again with Kelsey, like most of the time when you play down there, well, it might be different now, but the places that I play with her most of the time, I'm just using a wedge. But I still like to have click for a lot of her songs. So the thing I like about these is I can run click just to myself with these, but they don't isolate. They work as earplugs. They probably are shaving off like 5 or 7 dB, like enough to protect your ears, but not so much that you feel like you're in a different room from everybody else.
Right.
But so I've got earplugs for ear protection, but then I can have the click just loud enough that I can hear it, which is great. And then early on in Downtown Band, when all my David stuff would just stay on his trailer, so my ears were just in my stick bag on his trailer because we were going out all the time.
Yeah.
I was like, well, crap, I don't know what else to use for in-ears. And then I remembered I had an old pair of Shure's single drivers, and I brought those with me, but I brought these, and dude, they don't, like, the Shure's isolated more because they had the foam tips.
Sure.
But I'll be damned if these don't sound 20, 30 times better.
Oh, I bet.
They sound, and I get them at Target for like 10 or 15 bucks. They sounded amazing.
Wow.
And the thing I liked is, like, I didn't have to put as much drums in my ear mix because they didn't isolate as much as the Shure's. Like, I had just enough, but then I could hear everybody else. They're super comfortable to wear. They're obviously not like over the ear or anything, but
yeah,
man, for in a pinch, I wouldn't even say in a pinch. Like, I would use these if I had to and be pretty confident that, like, I could hear everything I needed to in a live situation. I used to track with them.
That's crazy.
At the old house at Barnstar Studio, I went through a phase where I was tracking with these because I just preferred the way they sounded. And then I got Vic Firth makes some really good, like, isolating headphones that there was an original pair that they sounded okay, but the thing everybody liked about them is that they just isolated so well. But then they put in better drivers, so they isolate just as well as they used to, but they also sound a lot better. So I've been tracking with those more. But for a while, I wouldn't even track with my $300 in-ears. I would just put these $15 things in and be like, these sound great.
I think I'm gonna go buy a set of those,
dude.
Because
the only thing I've heard is that there's like a Bluetooth version, and everyone says the Bluetooth version sucks. Like, the Bluetooth part of it is terrible.
Yeah, sure.
But dude, just the wired ones.
Yeah, I'm just gonna get the wired ones.
Yeah, like, golly, I don't know, man. I think they sound really good.
I mean, I've got a set of I've got 2 pair of West Tones.
Yeah, well, you're wearing some right now, right?
Yeah, I am.
Yeah,
and these are not the the ambient version. So they let audio come through, and I love them. I love West Tone. Both of them I have are triple driver, and they sound fantastic. They sound light years better than anything Shure makes. I'm not a fan of any of Shure earbuds at all. As far as I'm concerned, they're just
once you use something else, you're like, oh.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like fun. If you've never used in-ears before and that's your first thing, it's still better than a wedge.
Absolutely.
But then you upgrade to like better earbuds and you're like, oh man, I didn't realize how like mid-rangey the Shure sound. There's not many lows, there's not very many highs.
It's not very crisp.
Like, the frequency range is about that big.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's kind of mud. Just a little mud. Even the 2 double or triple driver Shures, I believe that the West Tone single driver sound far better than those. Just the clarity, man. I mean, it's not all about volume.
Yeah.
It's about definition.
Right. If the definition is good, you don't have to run them as loud.
That's absolutely right.
You don't have to run them as loud. I still do.
You still do. And I used to, but I still do too.
That's the thing I always say is, like, there are nights where I'll run my pack so hot that, like, at the end of a show, I'll pull my in-ears out and I'm like, oh, things are quieter. It's supposed to be the opposite. It's supposed to be like you pull your in-ears out and everything around you gets louder. But it's like, oh, I was running my pack pretty hot that night.
Yeah. I will say there's only been, I think, ever since I started running ears, which you and I kind of did that at the same time.
Yeah, 03, yeah.
Yeah, 03.
Yeah.
Ever since then, I've only had, when I'm running ears, I've only had probably, I'd say 4 gigs that I've had ringing.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. But I'm conscientious about my volume. Not to the point where I'm a super nerd and worried about, I'm going to hurt my ear.
Well,
not
sure,
that part.
But
I just don't like the ringing later.
Yeah.
It's not fun. Trying to fall asleep with that.
I definitely have a little bit of that it's not there all the time, but there are days or nights where it's like, ooh, I should probably take care of that.
I would say that that's just going to be a different situation between a guitar player and a drummer.
Well, for sure. And what's really interesting is that I definitely have lost more hearing in my left than in my right. And I think that is from years long before I was using in-ears, where if you're playing a show with a wedge, it's always on the left side. If you only have one, it's always on the left side.
Yep.
And, if you think about how you sit at a drum kit, like, out of the 3 things you're playing the majority of the time, snare drum's kind of center, kick drum's to your right.
Yep.
And hi-hat, which is like all the high frequency cutting sound and a little bit of snare drum, is on your left.
Yeah.
So I think those 2 things, the wedge being over there and the hi-hats and stuff, like, and probably just, being irresponsible when I was young and not wearing earplugs, like,
sure,
definitely shaved off some high end on this ear.
Yeah.
Because I can definitely notice a difference. Like if I have plugged both my ears and then I let my left ear open.
Yep.
I can hear, but things aren't quite as crisp. And if I pull my right finger out and then plug my left ear, like, it sounds normal, but just not as loud.
Right.
Do you know what I mean? So,
yes. Wow.
Yeah. Take care of your ears, people.
Yeah, and that's another thing about drummers and guitar players or anybody else that's not stuck in a seat, right? So, like,
yeah,
there's been instances like with sound companies where some of these guys, let's face it, just because they have sound companies doesn't mean they know what they're doing.
So they had a lot of money to buy gear.
That's right, and they hire gorillas to push cases around. So these gorillas also push knobs, and they don't know what they're doing. So you'll wind up on stage and you'll be trying to gesture to the monitor guy, hey, I need, less of this or I need that down or whatever. And next thing you know, your monitor's been increased by 20 decibels. With a guitar player, I can walk 30 feet away from it and be like, okay. But as a drummer, you're stuck in a seat and you have to deal with it, which reminds me of a show we did in Cleveland.
Yeah. I was just thinking of that show. Yeah, dude.
Aerosmith was going to be there.
That's what the homeless guy in front of the stage
local
kept
homeless.
telling us. Yeah. But no, that I was thinking of that gig when we were talking because that was a huge wedge.
Yeah.
Whatever they were using.
15 and
I think it was like 2 15s. It was like a square. It was massive.
I think it was a 215 shared. In the middle was a 1-inch horn. I mean, that thing was and it was, oh my gosh, it had to be every bit 200 pounds.
Yeah. And, we were sharing audio with whatever bands were before us. So we get up there and set up.
Festival style.
And like that monitor set to the guy before me, and it's ungodly loud. It was unbearable. Like we're in the middle of the first song, and I'm trying to look. Well, I don't even think there was a monitor guy. I'm pretty sure it was just front of house was also doing monitors. So he's 100 feet away in front of the stage. But I'm trying to signal to get him to turn it down, and it keeps getting louder. Like he's turning it up.
Dude, it was
and I remember
so loud.
Like 3 or 4 songs in, I finally had to get your attention and be like, Ryan, you got to help me like point this thing away from me or something because it's killing me. And we turned it so it was just like pointed towards the back of the stage.
Yeah.
And afterwards,
but it was still too loud.
It was still I think we just ended up unplugging it.
I did.
Yeah.
Like a middle of the show or a set or whatever. You were like, dude, I can't. We were 20, 30 minutes into the show, and I already started to have like, that thing where your ear starts to like fuzz over? It distorts.
Yeah. Like that was already happening.
Oh, gosh.
I've only had that happen 2 or 3 times in my life, but you're just like, oh, I've lost all my hearing. Like that's how quickly it happens. I mean, it came back, but like it was scary. And I was like, this jackass. So after the show, he came up and he was like, man, it was something, because he saw that we had like turned it and
unplugged it.
He's like, was something wrong with the drum wedge? And I was like, yeah, I kept trying to get you to turn it down and it kept getting louder. And he goes, oh, I'm sorry. I thought you were signaling for me to get it louder. I've never had a drummer tell me to turn it down. And I was like, what do you think this means? Like, what? Because I was like frantic about it. It was like every opportunity I had to play with one hand, or every opportunity between a song, I'm going, hey, like,
hey, can you turn that thing on, please? That thing down there, can you turn it on?
It's like, what does he think I'm saying?
Holy shit.
That reminds me, and I'm pretty sure you told me this story. If you didn't, somebody did. And it's a story I've retold many times because it just blows my mind. But I think you told me. And I don't remember who the band was. But there's a story of, there was like some band playing, and it was backline audio. It was like house audio somewhere, big festival thing. But it was like a big band. Like they had like a horn section, like 2 guitar players, loud B3 player with like an actual oh gosh, what's the
a Leslie?
Thank you, a Leslie on stage. And
for those of you who don't know what a Leslie is, it's a cabinet that holds a speaker and a horn that rotates.
Yes, for a B3
it makes a really cool sound.
And it's really cool and really loud and really heavy.
Yeah.
But this was probably in like the 70s or 80s. So in-ears weren't even a thing. But they start playing, and the drummer is looking at the monitor guy, and he's like, this isn't working. I've got nothing. Like, I've got nothing. Turn it up, turn it up. And the monitor guy is like, he's turning knobs and he's pushing faders. It goes on for like 2 or 3 songs, right? And it's like a big wedge where it's like, there's probably like a 15 or an 18, and then like a dual 15 and a horn. Like, it's basically like half of a small front of house PA.
Right. It's also known as like a large stage side fill.
Yes, a side fill. Thank you. Yeah.
Right.
Like, that's basically what the drum. Are you the one that told me this story?
I don't think I was.
Okay.
I remember you telling me this story.
I wish I could remember who told me. Anyway, so that, I mean, it's got more than enough power to like kill somebody, right? But he's like, I'm not hearing anything. Turn it up, turn it up. And finally, the monitor engineer realizes that the
muted, right?
The fader for that aux send is like all the way up, but the send is muted. And so he's been making all these adjustments for 15 minutes, turning everything up as loud as it goes. And instead of bringing everything back to where it was, he just unmuted. And the story goes that like in that instant, like the drummer lost all his hearing because this thing just like blew him out of the water.
Right.
It was literally like this guy hit a button and ended that guy's career.
That was it. That was the end of it.
Yeah.
Yep.
So it's like always. That is why I don't like to wear in-ears if I'm not with like our sound guys, our production guys, or if I'm running ears and it's house production, then I have a pack. I'll only do it if I have a pack because I want the limiter on. Right. If they're giving me a hardwired thing to a mixer, fuck that.
No way. Yeah.
No way. Because I don't trust. Well, and it's not just them. It's like, well, if a mic starts to feed back and gets really loud, like there's nothing in my signal path that's going to stop it from blowing my ears out. I can't react quick enough to turn it down.
No.
You know?
No. Right.
But I just don't trust I don't know who's running it. So I don't know how well they know the gear. They don't know how loud I like to run things or how quiet I want things. So in those situations, there's another gadget. Ear racers, earplugs.
Oh, yeah.
Fucking love them.
Yeah, they're fantastic.
Dude, they're just little like silicone type earplugs. They're only like 7 or 10 dB. It's like enough that you can be in a really loud environment, and at the end of the night, your ears won't be ringing. It protects your ears, but it's the same thing as like these. Like it's not like foam earplugs that just make everything sound like this. Oh yeah, it's quiet, but I can't understand anything that's happening.
Right.
Like everything sounds the same, just quieter.
Just quieter.
Dude.
Yep.
And aside from getting like custom molded earplugs, that's like the best $30 you can spend on earplugs.
Yeah.
I use those all the time when Spider Wolf plays. because we don't play to a click and we don't use in-ears. We're always on house production gear. It's always like that band is a loud band. I want it to be loud. I don't want to tell Ben to turn down. I don't want to have to play quiet and like restrained. I want to play balls out. But I put those in. I played one Spider-Wolf show without them, and I regretted it for a week. It was terrible. It was not a good idea.
Spider-Wolf, hard rock, metal. What?
Yes.
Okay.
I would say it's probably more hard rock
than metal, right?
I don't think it's like heavy hard rock. There are like some elements of metal, but I wouldn't call us a metal band.
Okay. I got you. I was just curious.
Yeah. But so, anyway.
Yeah, Westone also makes pretty much the competitor to the erasers. So,
oh, really? That's cool.
Yeah. Yep. Now they're a little bit more pricey. They're not molded, so they pretty much look almost identical to their existing line. But they do the same thing, and I think there's you can exchange like a part. They're not electronic, but I think you can exchange a part, and it will change whether or not it's a 10 dB drop or
they've got
20.
Like filters for them or whatever. Okay.
I'm pretty sure that's what I had seen. I could be completely wrong, but
either way, listen, kids, protect your ears. You only get one pair.
Yeah, that is right.
And,
you know
and once you have to start wearing hearing aids, that's going to make it really hard to wear in-ears on your gigs. So.
Oh, my gosh, right? Ugh. You know what happens when that ringing, do you know what is actually physically happening?
Tinnitus or whatever, why it happens like that? I have no idea.
So the little hairs in the ear, eardrum, when the sound waves when they're being blasted like that, they start to lay over.
Oh.
And kind of fall down, because it's those that need to pick up the sensation of the sound wave,
right,
that then tell the brain what you're hearing. When they're laying down like that, the ringing is them trying to stand back up.
Are you serious? Wow, that's
serious.
Great. That's a good share.
So when you hear
no, I didn't know that. Yeah, I didn't know that. That's awesome.
Yeah,
I mean, it's not awesome, but that's a nifty fact.
Yeah, so it's like, they fatigue. So the more times they get laid over like that, it takes it longer for them to stand back up. They're not elastic, you know.
Interesting. Yeah.
That slowly starts to become a problem.
Huh.
Yeah. So that is not the only way to lose your hearing.
Sure.
The hairs fall over, but you can have all kinds of different things that happen. But
I will say I am thankful that I know a few people that like have to sleep with a white noise machine, and I am not to that point yet.
Because of the ringing?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Well, I think sometimes it used to be because of my snoring, like on the road, but I don't snore anymore, and they still use it. And they're like, oh, I don't use this because you snore. They're like, I use this because if I don't, it's really loud in my ears and it's hard to go to sleep. But if I have something else that's generating the noise, then I don't, you know. So
wow.
Isn't that weird? It's bizarre, man. I hope I don't ever get to that point. Yeah. I don't want to ever become that dependent on like an outside source to fall asleep. You know, I kind of experienced that for a little bit, because when I lived in Philly, my apartment was right downtown. So you had like downtown noise. There were like, you had fire truck sirens like every 20 minutes. You had cop cars. You just had street noise. And I got really used to like how loud it was. So I can remember like after my first year and I came back home trying to fall asleep like at my parents' house over the summer or whatever, and being like, it's like, I mean, Coshocton, there's nothing going on after 8:30.
That's right. Everything closes.
It's like so quiet.
Even the hospital closes.
if they were even open in the first place. We're all out of bad dates, so we're closing early.
We're close.
But yeah, that was like, and even like moving down here after living in Philly, you know, like it was it was tough, man.
Yeah.
For a while. I just got so used to like outside noise. And now it doesn't, I mean, I'm fine either way, but
I have to sleep with a noisemaker. Like,
do you really?
I have to hear something. It keeps my brain from thinking.
Interesting.
Yeah, I used to be like just have a fan in the room and just running. And now I've switched over. I use a Google Home, and I just say, "Hey there, thing, play ocean sounds," and so it just plays ocean.
But you're like listening to like actual sounds. You're not just listening to like white noise or something.
No, I'm listening to like ocean waves.
Dude, I will say this sometimes, and maybe this is a throwback to my childhood. Sometimes the sound of like a box fan, dude, I could take a nap to that. Or the other thing, which I'm so thankful it's baseball season now, because like I love listening to baseball on the radio, and with the MLB app on my phone, I can listen to the radio broadcast. And like the last 2 or 3 innings, I'm usually in bed, and I just have it loud enough next to my pillow that I can hear it, but it's not bugging Amy. Right. Dude, I'll fall asleep to it all the time. And that's not, I love baseball, so it's not that I'm bored, but like the rhythm of listening to baseball on the radio is so soothing to me. Like it's, so dude, it'll knock me out real quick.
Yeah, because it is repetitious.
Well, and it's just the whole thing of like down and away, 2-1. You know, like just things like that with like, and now, you know, last year it wasn't like this, but now that there's fans back in the stadiums, like you hear that little bit of crowd noise, like
the chatter.
Yeah.
Right.
And, dude, I mean, oh my goodness. It's, I love it, dude. Baseball on the radio if I had to list like, if I had to make a list of like, what's your 5 favorite life simple pleasures? That would absolutely be one of them.
That's so funny.
I love it, man.
Oh my gosh.
Anyway.
So just to kind of like come over the tool part of this for me, because I know like.
Yeah. You want me to tell my story quick?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. So
I want to hear how this went.
This happened in Ella's closet, and then it happened in our closet. But like when they turned on the lights on the fixtures, one of the light bulbs just like shattered.
That's so weird.
And so, you know, I had to like pull the fixture down, dump all the glass out, which I had done that in Ella's room, but I hadn't figured out how I was going to get the bulb out yet. Cause it's just like, there's like the stem of the wire and then the metal part that threads in to the socket. It's like, well, there's nothing that I have no idea how I'm going to do this. And I had always heard about using a potato, but I was like, does that actually work? So I asked you, and I actually asked Damon, not workout Damon, but contractor Damon, a while ago too. And he was like, oh yeah, that works. But I was like, I'm going to ask you, because even if it works, you might know of something better,
an alternative.
Yeah, but so I had to run to Kroger this morning, and I bought a potato because, of course, we don't have any potatoes in our house, you know, like, and it worked, but it wasn't the total solution.
Okay.
Because the light bulb, like the wire was in there, so I had to take. So you gave me a long time ago some electrician's pliers that have like wire cutters on them.
Oh yeah, yep.
And I cut that part off, so I could just get a nice short thing to jab into the potato, and it got it like started, but then the potato. I don't know if the potato was just too soft or whatever, but then the potato was just turning and it wasn't. But it got it out enough that then I could take those pliers and grab the metal and do that thing. So. Yeah. Without the potato, I probably could have done it, but it would have been a lot harder. And it was the same story for the other one in our closet. Like, I cut the wire off and got all the extra glass off and put it in a bag, and then jabbed it on there and got it like out enough before the potato started getting too soft, and then I just used the pliers.
Nice.
Yeah. So
you got it out of there.
Got it out. It worked. Put some LED bulbs in there that are supposed to last like 13 years, so I'd never have to do it again. Next time that happens, we're just gonna sell the house and move.
That's what I told you to do. You're like, hey, do you have any suggestions? I said, yeah.
Put the house on the market.
Put the house on the market.
As is. That's like, I have a buddy, Chris Kimmer, who's a drummer, and we used to joke a long time ago. We would talk about snare drums and how you get, like, when the head gets to the sweet spot, like, it's been on there long enough that, like, the drum is just right where you want it, feel-wise and pitch-wise and everything. And then we'd always be like, yeah, after that, it's like, you just have to buy a new snare drum because you don't want to change the head or anything. Like, you know, oh, I can't get this drum to sound good anymore. I guess I'll just buy another one.
Oh my gosh. You know how many people do stuff like that with things?
Oh, yeah, I do.
Like their cars.
Oh, I know. It's ridiculous.
Like, oh, it needs oil change. I'll just go get another car. Or it needs new tires. Oh, I'll just go get another car.
I'm buying a car. I'm buying a new car every 3,000 to 6,000 miles.
Right.
Man, we should do, that should be a podcast sometime, like our desert island vehicles. That would be
I've got quite a few of them.
Well, we'd have to make it. I actually had an idea for, like, every now and then to do an episode of the Good Share podcast, and we'll call it a short list. And you're only like your top 5 movies, your top 5 TV shows, your top 5 whatever, but you can only do 5. So however many you have to narrow it down to, like, these 5.
That sounds good.
Like a good share short list or something. And they can be quick. They'll be like a 20 or 30-minute podcast.
Sure. Yeah. I dig that. I like it.
Yeah. So be on the lookout for future episodes of those.
Good share short list.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's cool.
Anyway,
okay, so,
I didn't mean to interrupt.
No, I know I've done similar things like that.
Oh, I have too.
Especially with tools. If I have I have 2 framing nailers, right? I don't do any framing. But every time I have a framing thing that I've got to do, and usually when I'm doing a framing thing, it's something like what I did with you or my brother, where I'm doing a whole basement remodel or I'm building a studio.
Yeah.
It's not like I'm nailing a couple fence posts together or something.
Right.
Or, I wouldn't use a framing nailer for that because that would be the appropriate tool for that particular job anyway. But it's not something lightweight. It's usually because I'm building a room or something. But every time I wind up doing that, I usually go out and I'll buy the latest, greatest framing nailer.
Yeah.
Because you know why? Because I'm doing a new project. Right. I have to have that. Plus, that's the fun of it, is playing with the new tools. Anyway.
I mean, it's not any different than music. Sometimes new gear can inspire a new project, or a new project can make you want to justify, well, I really need this,
It's a massively motivating force, it is.
Sometimes, Yeah. And honestly, then you'll look back a month later and be like, I really didn't need, I had so much stuff I could have done just to find with, but.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. That happens a lot.
Yeah.
So when we were building your studio, Barnstar, I believe I was rolling around in the Bosch outfit.
Yeah, you were all about Bosch back then.
Yeah.
It was like everything Bosch.
It was Bosch.
You had those like stackable work boxes and...
Yeah, the L boxes is what they're called, and I still do have those, but I'm actually.
But I used to too.
I used to too, but I'm going to be selling them. I'm going to be parting them out because now I've switched over to the other side of things, and I am now on with Milwaukee. Wow. Now, for a long time, I was not a big Milwaukee fan. There was a lot of people that were majorly on Milwaukee and like the fanboys. So I had kind of a tough time with that because there was a few things about Milwaukee that I was like, One is Milwaukee at the time, it was still undecided whether or not the way they did research and development of their products was going to win, whether or not it was going to last. Because they would develop like what they thought would be a cool product. And they would do it, they would do it. So they did it faster than just about any other manufacturer. And they would release it as quick as they could release it.
Yeah.
And then, I don't know how it worked exactly, like behind the scenes, but this is how it felt. Hey, I got this idea. What is it? It's this. Oh yeah, let's build it. How many you want to do? Oh, let's do 100,000 of them. Okay. Box them up, send them out. And then they sell tons of them. And then the stores are like, hey, got any more of those things? And they're like, no, we only made 100,000 of them.
Okay.
And they wouldn't have them anymore. Yeah. So whatever it was, like they come up with some really innovative electrical tools, like hand tools.
Yeah.
And once they started doing that, because I was majorly with Klein for a minute, I started getting turned on to some of their electrical tools. And I was like, yeah, okay, these are actually pretty good. They were relatively sharp. They were really, really strong, had lots of good leverage. They worked smooth. There were a couple things about the wire stripper ones, which I think maybe
you gave me a pair. Yeah.
Yours are red handle, right?
Well, the ones that I just used today weren't strippers. They just had wire cutters. But you left me a pair that are strippers, and I think they're either Klein or Milwaukee. I don't remember. I feel like they're Milwaukee, which is why you gave them to me, because at the time you were like, I'm not into these. But I don't remember.
Well, they're first generation wire strippers. This is the problem I had with them. Is first of all, I don't like spring-loaded that type of spring-loaded tool. I don't like it in the wire strippers, and I don't like it in the lineman pliers, which are like the flat nose ones that can cut really heavy wire, but then you can grab things and pull them through walls and whatnot. And they've got really long handles, so there's tons of leverage. I don't like them being spring-loaded because you do what you need to do. You throw them in your pouch or your back pocket. And if they're spring-loaded, they open, and it's just annoying as shit, or they fall out. The other thing is when they are spring-loaded and you got them in your pouch and you go to grab them, you're closing them, and then they get caught on something. Yeah. Pain in the ass. So the first iteration of the wire strippers had a spring in there, but not only that, but they had a locking mechanism. But it was plastic, and it never slid smooth. It would slide up and down to lock into place, right? But not very well done. So I steered away from those and quit using them. But then they come out with I think a third generation of those, and now it's got a metal clasp that swings up and down on a hinge, and it's much more smooth and it works a lot better. And then where they put the spring in this one, you can just snag it and knock it out of there.
Nice.
Which actually makes them very usable. Anyway, so I had lots of Bosch power tools. I had the Bosch drills. I had the Bosch impactors. I had the Bosch called the Brute, which was a 4-pole motor drill, which was super duper strong, and it also had hammering function and all that. I had the Bosch Sawzall. I had the Bosch circular saw, and all this was on their 18-volt platform. All worked relatively well. I lent the stuff to someone, and it wound up getting beat up pretty badly. The circular saw didn't make it.
I was just going to say, it wasn't me.
It wasn't you. No, I didn't lend it to you. It was not ice. So the circular saw wound up getting beat up pretty doggone badly. The plate on it was no longer straight and true. Geez. Yeah, it was bad. The Sawzall, the overmolding, the rubber overmolding started coming off, and the battery, not compartment, but the battery, where you fasten the battery to the tool, the entire part of that cracked. So as the saw, anybody that's ever used a Sawzall knows that they vibrate like mad, and anytime it started doing that, the battery just flew out of the thing because it wasn't fastened in. So that was pretty much trashed. The drills took a beat, and you could tell that the drills had taken a beat. And one of my favorite drills, which is the Bosch impactor, but it has like this really cool thing where it's a 1/2-inch drive like you would use on a socket, but in the center of it, you can stick a hex bit. So like a Phillips or a drill bit that would go in hex. So it was multifunction, but it worked great on like 1/2-inch drive impact sockets. So if you're taking lugs off a car or something, that drill pretty doggone strong, pretty decent drill. But it took a beating too because all the lights on the front were all busted and came off of it. But it still works.
Yeah.
And so does the 4-pole, and so does the standard drill with a chuck. That all those still work. But they were all beat up pretty doggone bad. Plus, I think two of my larger batteries wound up needing completely replaced. It was a real bummer. So I think it was maybe last year, possibly it was last year, I rebuilt the whole deck on my house. And the circular saw, my Bosch circular saw busted, no good. So I went out searching for, a better circular saw. And I was seriously considering like going with Makita, because Makita makes a really nice line of stuff, and their stuff is really pretty doggone good stuff. But not only that, you can kind of get it just about anywhere. Like, it's easy to get. Right. That's the one thing about the Bosch stuff that I really was like bummed out about, because I did like it because it was really strong stuff and sturdy. And the drills are incredibly precise. Like, the handling of them is really good. The trigger sensitivity there's a lot to be said for that on the Bosch drills, but it's hard to find it. Like, Lowe's has some stuff, but they don't carry the whole thing. They only carry like drills and a sawzall, and then some of the batteries, like, Plus, Bosch, they're slow to develop. They are research developing maniacs. They will sit on a tool, no kidding, for like 4 or 5 years before they even think about releasing it. So their development of tools is it takes a long time. They're German engineered, and when you use one, you can tell, because they are very well built. And the batteries, the way they have the battery tech done inside, and the way their battery chargers work with their batteries, it's all ventilated. They last longer. Yeah. So I switched over to Milwaukee instead of Makita, because Milwaukee, the thing I liked about the Milwaukee was they have this circular saw that is sort of like a warm drive. And I don't know if you've ever seen one, but it's where the grip of it is behind the blade and not like so much on top, Yeah. So it's more like a warm drive, but it's not a warm drive. It's called something else. I don't remember the name. But Makita made one, but the problem with that was the Makita one said it would do corded power. It had corded power, but you had to have 2 of their 18-volt batteries in that saw for it to function. So it's like operating at like 36 volts or something. So I didn't really like that, because that means I had to have a pretty big investment on that saw, because the saw itself didn't come with the batteries. And if you bought it with the batteries, then you could get a bundle deal, but it's still pretty expensive. But Milwaukee saw was still stating that it was, corded power. And on YouTube, I found some videos showing like that, this is a pretty powerful saw. Works off one battery, works off their one 18-volt battery. So the 18-volt line is just, it doesn't, so far they haven't got a tool out that requires you to put 2 of their 18-volt batteries into it. Right. So I like that idea. Plus, they have a 12 amp hour battery, which is a freaking honking of a I mean, it's a huge battery. It'll fit in this saw, so it'll take all the different M18 batteries. So if you really want really long run time, you can get the bigger battery. So I've switched over to all that, and the pack out system is infinitely better than the L boxes. Now they're a little bit bigger, a little bit bulkier, but boy, oh boy, are they built. They're built so good. They're built out of like fiberglass and nylon, or vinyl. Fiberglass, like it's fiberglass reinforced vinyl. So the stuff is really strong. Plus, my L boxes didn't have any of this, but you close the case on a pack out. It's like a Pelican case. It has a gasket. Cool. Yeah. So you can drop them and fully submerge them, and your stuff's not gonna get wet. If you leave it on job site or whatever in a garage, it's not heated or cooled. Oh right. Condensation is not going to build up inside the box and on your tools. Really cool. That's awesome. I really dig those tools a lot. So there, I've wrapped that up. I kind of went off on a tangent for a minute, but I come back around. So, that shall conclude our part 2 and this brief series of gear, gadgets, and tools.
Yeah. Yeah.
You still awake? Did I put you to sleep over there?
I heard something about 18 volt.
18 volts of something.
Yeah. No, I'm here, man.
Hey, I'm gonna turn.
Hey!
And hey, man, I'm gonna turn to look at you in your face.
Oh, hey, buddy. I forgot
man.
you were over there.
Yeah, I'm over here the whole time.
Yeah, here, I'm over here.
Here, I'm gonna hand you a cable. You don't have a cable. How about a pen? I got a pen. I'll hand you.
Let me see it.
I got a pen here. I'm gonna hand you this pen.
Let me grab it from you. Wait, you're over there, right?
Yeah,
Let me grab it. Okay.
Grab it.
Oh, thanks. That's a nice pen. Wow, it looked a lot different over when you were holding
You know,
it.
I'm gonna actually need that back.
Oh, but you can have it. Okay.
Okay. Yeah.
There you go.
Thanks, buddy.
Yeah, no problem. Oh, you know what? Can I see that one more time?
Yeah, sure.
Just,
sure.
yeah,
Sure. There you
No, let me grab that for me. Thank you.
go. I just left it. I left it laying there on the on the table.
What the? Oh, that's cool. Here, I'll give it back to you there.
Okay. Oh, thanks.
Yeah, no problem.
That will never get old. Hey, man.
Hey, what?
I was just wondering. Did you know
I didn't.
this? Now, hold on a second. You may know this. You may know this
I probably
because you
didn't
know
know.
the health and stuff. And
Oh, okay.
this is this has something to do with some of that.
Okay.
This is interesting because now that I'm reading this, I'm going to try it. I'm going to give this a whirl because
Okay.
I'm interested.
Well,
in
you're
this
killing
now.
me. I want to know now.
Did you know cauliflower dipped in barbecue sauce tastes almost the same as a chicken nugget, and it's infinitely healthier?
Yes, good share. And I have heard that. I want to try this. I have a recipe saved on my phone for like buffalo cauliflower wings.
Ooh.
And I just haven't
Send me
done
the
it.
recipe.
I got to find it, but I have not done it. And I'm like, man, I want to try that. I've heard that numerous times that like, if you dress up cauliflower the way you would dress up chicken, your brain just thinks it tastes the same. But here's the thing. Yeah, cauliflower is quote unquote healthier, I guess. It depends on what you're going for. Like, I like protein. Chicken's like not unhealthy. I mean, chicken McNuggets from McDonald's aren't good for you. But if you're like making your own chicken, do you know what I mean? Like,
well, my question is chicken, how many more calories is chicken over? Like, if you're strictly talking calories.
oh, well then, yeah, cauliflower is way less calories.
Okay.
Of course.
Okay.
But like, it's also just a fibrous carb. I mean, vegetables are good for you, but like, it's funny. Certain people have always been like, yeah, man, I got to give up. I really love wings, and it's hard for me to give that up. And I just think that's funny because, like, I mean, yeah, wings are fried or whatever, but to me, like, out of all the things I think about that I used to eat, wings are not something that I feel guilty about eating now. They're not the best thing for me, but I can at least justify it and say, like, but it's like protein, it's meat. Like, yeah, it's not the leanest form, and it'd be better if it wasn't fried, but like, it's not like I'm just eating like a mouthful of candy or something. You know what I mean? I'm not just eating Reese's cups or something like that.
It's not like I'm pounding donuts at the airport.
What a glorious day that was. I'll tell you what, I need to get back to Fox's Donut Den and get me an apple fritter.
Dude,
That's what
I
need
want to
do.
go get me a donut too.
Don't do it.
No?
No.
I've been really good today.
No. Well, keep being good. Be good tomorrow, too. Be good for another month and then see how you feel about it.
Oh, yeah.
That's always my rule. I always, like, if I'm having, like, a craving for something, I try and say, like, okay, well, see how you feel tomorrow. And then if you go, like, 2 or 3 days and you still really want that thing, well, then go indulge and, like, have it. But I think too often
impulsive.
We go, oh man, I could really go for a donut. Let's go get one. And it's like, you didn't even stop to think about, like, yeah, who doesn't want a donut, of course, but like, do you really want that donut? Like, are you gonna feel okay? Because like 1 or 2 donuts might not really negatively impact you on like a physical level. But if it's going to cause you like mental and emotional anguish because all of a sudden you're going to feel guilty about it and be like, well, fuck, now I'm like off of my nutrition plan and like, then it's not worth it. But if you can wait it out 2 or 3 days, most likely you're either going to be too busy and you're going to forget about it, or it's just going to go away on its own. Like sometimes you just wake up and you really want something, but that doesn't mean you actually really want it. But my whole point is, like, if in 2 or 3 days you still really want that thing, well, then by all means, if you've been doing good for a while, then go get that thing. Like, I'm not anti-treating yourself, but I don't like to do it just right in the moment of like feeling like, oh, I really want this thing, because that's not always it's not always accurate.
I can see that, right?
But I also don't want to throw away 2 perfectly good donuts at the Omaha airport. So I guess I'm eating them. Taking one for the team, I guess. Yeah, I feel really good. I just ate 3 donuts. Now I'll just sit my ass on a plane for 3 hours. Here I am, watching Tenet on my phone, really working off those dones.
Working off those donuts.
I can my body's just a metabolizing machine. I can feel them just coming off. They're just sitting there like a big doughy cakey brick in my stomach. Anyway, yeah. So yeah, that is a good share. I think I'm gonna try that sometime for buffalo cauliflower. I think. Yeah. Anyway, hey, you got one more? Hey, what?
Yeah, I do. Yeah. I have a couple more, actually.
Oh boy.
In America,
you do know we've been going for an hour and 45 minutes
for a long time.
Yeah.
Hopefully we get some suggestion boxes stuff.
They're gonna be like, your podcasts are way too damn long.
by about 45 minutes too long.
By about an hour and 40 minutes too long. We just want a 5-minute podcast. All right.
In America, did you know that you will see an average of 5,000 advertisements a day?
Good share.
So this one, I like this one.
Oh,
this
God.
will be the one that you'll be like,
all right, here we go. All right, let's hear it.
Koalas never drink water. They get fluids from the eucalyptus leaves that they eat.
Good share.
Hey, thanks for listening or watching the Good Share podcast. Hey, Ice, tell them what they can do.
Well, if you're enjoying the show, please take a minute and like, subscribe, comment, rate, and review. And don't forget to ring that bell so you never miss an episode.
That's right. And if you want to know more, go to the GoodSharePodcast.com.
Say hi, Tim.
Hi, Tim.